nuclear-powered merchant ships, the NuProShip project. Today, I'd like to share a fascinating report I recently came across online. This report is from the NuProShip, Nuclear Propulsion for Merchant Ships project. I'm interested in new projects and prospects in shipping, so I decided to review it. Nuclear engines on merchant ships, facts from a new study that debunks stereotypes. The paradox of green shipping. An invisible carbon trail follows every item that crosses the ocean. Maritime transport, the backbone of global trade, handles over 80% of the world's cargo and is responsible for 3% of global greenhouse gas emissions. The solution seems obvious: switch to green fuels like ammonia, methanol, or hydrogen. These alternatives are actively discussed as the future of clean shipping. However, here lies a paradox. A large-scale study by the Norwegian NuProShip project, Nuclear Propulsion for Merchant Ships, revealed a stunning fact. To produce these green fuels in the volumes needed to replace fossil fuels in global shipping, it would require all the electricity currently generated by the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development countries, which include 38 nations worldwide. This makes such a transition virtually impossible in the near future. So, if not these fuels, then what? NuProShip researchers suggest looking at a serious, if unexpected candidate: nuclear energy. The NuProShip 1 and its successor, NuProShip 2, projects are exploring these aspects in detail. This article will share the conclusions from their final report, which fundamentally changes our understanding of the future of maritime transport. The biggest hurdle isn't nuclear physics, it's bureaucracy. The first thing that comes to mind when mentioning nuclear reactors on ships is the complexity of the technology. However, as it turns out, developing the reactor itself isn't the most challenging task. The main obstacle lies in a completely different area. This idea is best illustrated by a quote from the report's foreword, written by project lead Jan Emblems-Vogue. "I find the engineering aspects of a nuclear propulsion system to be far from the most complex. The most challenging aspect is navigating the vast array of laws, rules, and regulations. This is where the future of nuclear propulsion will be decided." This is a fundamental conclusion. It shows that the primary challenges on the path to a nuclear fleet are human and organizational, not purely technical. It's about navigating a maze of requirements from flag and port states, classification societies, canal administrations, nuclear regulators, insurers, and the International Maritime Organization, all while considering public opinion. Why green fuels aren't a panacea for global transport? The NuProShip project views nuclear energy not just as one option, but as a solution to the fundamental limitations of other alternatives. The study clearly shows that popular green fuels have a huge scalability problem. According to the report, replacing fossil fuels in shipping with green ammonia, methanol, or hydrogen would require all the electricity generated by the OECD countries. This is a colossal amount of energy, and its production from renewable sources is unrealistic in the coming decades. Therefore, the authors state that global shipping faces a choice: continue as is or explore the nuclear option. However, the report also notes that this doesn't preclude the successful use of green fuels for local or cabotage shipping, where energy needs are significantly smaller. Some reactors are rejected due to public opinion, not just science. The researchers began their analysis with over 80 reactor concepts, gradually narrowing the list using strict criteria. One exclusion criterion was particularly surprising. The project team immediately rejected all water-cooled reactors. The reason for this decision is not so much technical safety, as it is the anticipated strong public opposition. The report's authors note that most people don't distinguish between modern, safer Gen 3 and Gen 3 Plus reactors and the outdated Gen 2 technologies associated with the Chernobyl and Fukushima accidents. To avoid this negative perception, they decided to focus on alternative cooling types: gas, molten salts, liquid metal. This is a clear example of how socio-political factors become strict engineering constraints in the real world. There is no single magic reactor for everyone. The idea that you can simply design one universal reactor and install it on any vessel is a misconception. One of the key findings of the NuProShip report is that one reactor technology cannot satisfy the needs of the entire shipping industry. The researchers identified three most promising concepts, each best suited for a specific type of vessel and task. Molten salt reactors, MSR, specifically the KPFHR from Kairos Power, USA. Best suited for large vessels that require powerful steam turbines, such as supertankers. Helium-cooled micromodular reactors, high-temperature gas-cooled reactors, HTGR, from Ultra Safe Nuclear Corporation, USA. Ideal for vessels with electric propulsion systems, such as modern cruise liners or specialized ships. Lead-cooled reactors, LFR, specifically the Sealer 55 from Blaikalla, Sweden. Optimal for vessels operating under a stable load, such as container ships on long transoceanic routes. This differentiated approach shows the transition from an abstract concept to a real engineering blueprint for the future fleet. Future nuclear ships will be controlled remotely, not by large crews. Military nuclear ships have large crews, a significant portion of which serves the reactor. For commercial shipping, this approach is not economically viable due to high costs and the limited number of qualified specialists. The solution proposed by the report is modern and pragmatic. Remote monitoring or operations are seen as a key enabler. This means that the main reactor operations would be controlled by a team of experts from a land-based center, while the onboard crew would perform only basic functions. This idea is not a futuristic fantasy, but a proven model from another high-stakes industry. The report draws a direct parallel with the oil and gas industry, which over 2 decades has successfully transitioned to integrated and then remote operations. Today, it is standard practice for land-based expert centers to support complex offshore drilling operations in real time. This proves that such an approach not only makes the concept economically viable, but also combines cutting-edge nuclear technology with modern trends in automation and remote management. The next phase, navigating the waters, the NuProShip. I study proves that the path to a nuclear merchant fleet is being forged not so much by physicists as by lawyers, regulators, and insurance companies. The technologies already exist or are being actively developed, but the real work lies in paving a way for them through complex regulatory, economic, and social challenges. The NuProShip project is methodically overcoming these hurdles, turning a radical idea into a practical plan of action. Its conclusions show that the future of carbon-free maritime transport may not be what we imagined. Given the harsh energy realities, the question is no longer whether we will see nuclear ships, but how quickly we can overcome the human challenges to make them a reality. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. This will be an additional incentive for creating engaging content. Goodbye.